Okay, so I kind of want to tell you why I did this build for Brandon and like our history. So I don't do client builds. I call myself a custom car manufacturer. I like to build buses how I want to build a bus, and then I offer it for sale. So it's like, because I want to have all the choices. I want to decide to try this. I want to try this color. I want to try this or that. And I don't want to have to make a phone call every time I'm making a design choice. Like, this is a creative process for me, like video, photography, and I want to have complete creative control when I'm building a bus. This is art, you know, and then I'll sell my art, and then somebody who loves it and appreciates it will buy it. So that's why I don't want to do client builds, and obviously here I am doing one. Brandon and I have known each other a very long time. Before I ever had a van, before I ever had a bus, back when I was a full-time musician, years ago. And Brandon did all of my camera work. He did my photography, he did my music videos. And then he had a lot of success longboarding, being a professional longboarder. And he ended up traveling the world, and he's still doing that. And that's what this bus is for. And basically, he taught me a camera years ago. He taught me about social media marketing years ago. And I feel like it was a pivotal point in my story that kind of led me to where I am and what I'm doing. Like, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have probably bought a professional camera. He was the first person who ever showed me how to use Lightroom for photography. Like, he was like a key point in my story that brought me to where I am today. And he's always just called me out of the blue, asking how I'm doing. Anytime I ever had a question about it, he's always been there for me over the years we've known each other. So when he was talking about wanting to build a bus, I wanted to help him. And because he's going on this tour, he needs this bus for this tour, etc. And basically I wanted to be there for him. He was talking about it, and I honestly thought, like most people, he wouldn't actually buy the bus. Here we are, and I was wrong. So he calls me, and he's like, hey, I got the bus. When can I bring it to Oregon? And I was like, oh, boy. So I was in the middle of another bus build, and I was trying so hard to get it done before he showed up. I didn't get it done, but I wanted to keep my commitment, and I wanted to make sure he met his deadlines. And here we are. 30-day bus build so he can take it out on tour. So Brandon is a man that I respect. I respect him as a person. I respect him as a businessman. I respect him as an artist. And I knew that, you know, it would be all right. You know, like, I wanted to help him. And that's why I built this bus for him. I learned a lot in this build that I'm going to take into future builds, and I hope he loves the bus. I love it. I kind of love the design choices because they're things I wouldn't have done typically. And, you know, it was a fun experience. It was a great challenge. I like challenges because it pushes you as a person, and then you evolve and you learn. And this was a great challenge, a 30-day bus build, but it's done. I'm happy with it. I hope he's happy with it. And I think it turned out great for what it is. So that's why I did it.
Yeah, so I mean, the idea for the bus and the tour kind of came about randomly, super quickly actually. A few years ago I had like a shuttle bus, and it was a piece of crap. I basically just bought that kind of like this, just on a whim, and was like, let's do a badass skate tour. Ended up being a basket case, transmission blew out. We basically just hung up a couple hammocks, a couch, and some bean bags and said screw it. And so I don't know, for this, like, I just came into like a little bit of money the past year, and I was looking at my bank account, and I was like, I think we can barely do this if I sold my Bitcoin, dude. That's saying something. I sold Apple, I sold Bitcoin, I maxed out my credit cards, and I said, let's roll. And the reason I wanted to get a school bus this time is because that shuttle bus was just built like crap. The cool part about this thing, it's all metal, and it's built like a tank, you know? So I just had kind of a traumatic experience with that last one. And that's why I didn't even want to go with one of the school buses. I said, no, let's get the bus chassis. Let's get the international. I want this thing to be built tough. So hopefully we don't have any problems. You never know with an old vehicle, but yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. And I wanted like the extra height. I wanted like the bigger, boxier interior. And yeah, I just think this one at 24 feet was like a really good size for what we're doing. Like, we have enough space to throw a bed in the back and to have like a dinette and a couch, a little kitchen. Yeah, and just get a little bit of space to kind of move around. So, without being too big. That's the problem with some of these buses. Much too big. Big shout out to my dude Isaac at SKOOLIE for making this thing happen on such a quick turnaround. When I first called him 6 weeks ago, I was like, hey man, any chance you can like drop everything you're doing and get this bus done in 30 days before we go on this tour? And he's a homie, so he was like, hell yeah, bro, let's do it. So make sure you guys DM him if you want your guys' bus done. And so we're cool. So right now we're going to be rolling out of this in the next day or so. We're going to the mechanic, and then we're driving to Seattle. Hired this guy, Kid Wiseman, who's this epic muralist, to do the whole bus. It's going to be crazy colors. You guys are going to freak out when you see that. And then we're doing this tour, starting in Seattle, 6-week longboard tour to basically film events or film videos and create events that empower people with confidence and creativity. So Brooke and I, back earlier this year, started doing free longboard lessons in Santa Monica, California. Started as 8 people, grew to like 60 people a week. Half the people have never really been on a board, and we just wanted to like make it so much more accessible, lower the barrier to entry. We partnered with a couple companies to do free boards, free helmets, and yeah, just put a lot of time into free lessons. Quickly that grew. We started getting people all around the country hitting us up about, hey, how you doing that? Like, when you guys coming to this city or this city or this city, or can we visit? And we just said, screw it, let's go on tour. So we're doing 6 weeks, starting in Seattle, big event weekend. So it's going to be Seattle, the next week in Portland, next week in San Fran, Salt Lake, Phoenix, and then ending in Los Angeles. Gonna do some smaller stuff throughout, but we're gonna do big skate scavenger hunt. Brooke's gonna be doing women's meetups, and yeah, we just want to like make action sports, and more specifically longboarding, more accessible and more fun and approachable. So you guys can check that out. Everything's gonna be on my YouTube. We're gonna be doing 2 videos a week. My YouTube channel is gonna be linked, I hope. And yeah, Beyond the Board is the name of the tour. Alright guys, so my name is Brandon Desjardins. You can follow me on Instagram and I guess YouTube. That's where most of these videos are going to be. We're going to be doing 2 a week plus on tour. So make sure you check that out. Link in the bio. Thank you, Isaac.